Hi everybody and welcome to another episode of the FM channel podcast. My name is Claudio. I am one of the co-owners and senior recruiters at Alex Young Recruitment. Today I'm joined by Colin Kimber, who is Associate Director at Pareto FM. Colin, how are you doing?
I'm very good, thank you.
Good. So just as a recap to anybody that hasn't tuned in before or watched, I set this podcast up kind of mid-pandemic in a bit just to kind of do something a bit different, I think, and just kind of hopefully inspire other people in the industry. So I'm interviewing FM professionals from different companies, different backgrounds, just to hear their story, how they got into FM, what they love about it, what they hate about it, and hopefully inspire other people as we go along, really. So Colin, can you tell us, as a bit of an intro to everybody, what you currently do and who you do it for at the present time?
Okay, so as you said, I'm Associate Director with Pareto Facilities Management. So what do I do? Well, there are those that think I do nothing, but
I'm sure you do.
I work very closely with the MD to run quite a large chunk of the operational activity within the organisation. So I suppose technically I'm there for escalations and owning the senior relationships.
Yeah,
I think that's what it probably would say on my job spec. But I work with a defined team of senior account managers and account managers to help them to be the best that they can be in delivering our contracts, really. And I suppose applying my expertise where necessary.
Yeah. Great. And how's it been for you guys during the lockdown? How's it been? You mentioned it's been quite busy actually for you guys, has it?
It has. It didn't really stop. I mean, this is probably not a strange story to anybody who's looking at this podcast, that it actually kind of got busier.
Yeah.
You know, and actually, even though we were all working from home all the time, it was non-stop. And you know, you find yourself at your desk at like 7:30 in the morning. You don't leave until 5:30, 6 o'clock, and with no commuting or stopping for a break or stopping for a team meeting or anything. That's quite relentless. You know, but it was good to be busy. I mean, in a very strange time where nobody really knew what was going on, and everybody had different reactions to it. We all had our fears for different reasons. In a sense, it was quite good to be kept busy, and it was quite good to have a bit of a challenge to deal with. It was certainly very different from the last time I was involved in something like this. So I was in FM probably about 3 or 4 years when bird flu happened.
Oh yeah.
So I was kind of involved in a lot of planning for that, but that never really delivered. That did it? It never really happened.
No. I remember there was a big kind of hoo-ha, but then it kind of just fizzled out.
Exactly. Lots and lots of prep.
Yeah.
Didn't really implement anything.
A bit like the millennium bug. Everyone panicked.
Yeah, exactly.
And nothing.
So yeah, it's great that we have a real pandemic to deal with this time.
Perfect.
You know, but it's been really busy, and I mean, we were very proactive right from the get-go. We're very, very high on the engagement in Pareto. I think that's probably one of the things that underpins us. So with our people, with our customers, it's just, you know, we put a really strong emphasis on communicating well, no matter what we're doing. So we got right in front of this, and we just said, right, this is the deal. This is what you have to do in order to keep your buildings compliant. We're prepared to get that done for you. This is what it might look like for you financially. This is what we can do with the teams that are involved. This is how we can manage furlough credits. And actually, I was talking to someone. We do a couple of people recently. I think what you yesterday was one of these people. Getting into that trusted advisor space has been really a really positive byproduct of this situation, because this really enabled everyone to play to their strengths and actually bring their expertise really visibly to the table. So, you know, that our clients know that they know their employees better than we do in some respects. So they understood what their business needs were and what their internal customers were going to need. We were able to bring the legislation to the fore. We were able to interpret all of the furlough schemes and everything, and give them that information and come up with workable solutions that either allowed them to carry on working or allowed them to at least shut down at a relatively quick pace and make sure that they weren't facing any other challenges by having a non-compliant building, that sort of thing. I mean, it's been good in some respects. I mean, I think we all face a lot of frustrations now, because I think now that we're coming to the end of furlough and we're about to move into a new scheme. I think that's kind of the next phase for us, because we don't really know what that's going to mean. But our customers have been fantastically supportive with us.
Oh, that's good.
The whole way through. So it really did feel. It didn't feel like, right, no, you're a contractor. It felt like we were all in this together. That we were all going to face the challenges together. They were very sensitive to the challenges that we were going to find. We were sensitive to things on their side. So sometimes it was looking at, like, how quickly can you ramp this down, and then how quickly can you ramp it up again. And certainly some of our customers were not used to procuring large amounts of things like hand wash and face masks and stuff like that, and we were able to bring that expertise to the fore as well. So I think in many respects it was kind of stepping back from what we would do normally and thinking, right, where can we be of use? Where can we really help here? I suppose being flexible about changing the way we operated in order to fit their needs.
That's great. Sounds like you've been working in true partnership, because everyone talks about the partnerships with your contractors, but it sounds like you guys were really kind of working side by side.
Absolutely. And great. I mean, like when lockdown actually hit, we were in the middle of three tenders. So although there was a slight pause, we did carry on with all of this this virtually, and we won those new pieces of business, and we've been mobilizing things virtually, and then as we were allowed to start going back into the space, we've been doing that and starting to set things up. So it's been nice that that business didn't just come to a stop. We're able to carry on growing, carry on developing.
Have you got many of your clients? Are they all back now? Are they all full buildings again, or is it kind of a mixed bag?
It's a mixed bag. Yeah. So I mean, we've got a couple of places that didn't really stop.
Right.
So I mean, we look after a museum, which actually, the fact that it wasn't open to the public was a blessing for us, because we were able to start concentrating on things that you can do when there's nobody around. So it did actually create, for us, people not being in the buildings created a very safe space that we could send people to do things, because we were only saying to, like, two people go to an empty building and work. There's no risk. So some things did close down, and they've given us new opportunities to do other things, intrusive works and that sort of stuff. Other places carried on working, and I think to be honest, I think it's depended on culture and the actual physical environment. So some of our customers have got big enough physical environments that they're able to put really good one-way systems in place, and it's really quite easy to social distance and stuff like that. Others, culturally, they're very tech-based companies, so actually everything can be done from a laptop, and it doesn't really matter where you are. And I think that made everyone go, okay, there's just no reason why we need to take any risk here, because we can operate without being in the space. So yeah, it's a mixed bag.
Great. Okay, cool. So that's you now. Thank you for that. So let's go back to the beginning and talk about how you got into the FM industry. How long have you been in it, and where was the kind of the starting point for you?
Okay, so 15 years ago this year. So this December will be my 15-year anniversary of getting into facilities management by accident. Like a lot of people. So,
like a lot of people,
yeah, like a lot of people. I mean, I'm glad that it is starting to become a career of choice. And certainly one of the people in my team, this was absolutely a choice for her right from the get-go. She went and studied this, and this was a choice. So
amazing.
I'm glad there are people like that around. But yeah, for me, I was almost forced into it, I would say, because well, you may not know this. So originally, I was a professional dancer.
Oh right, no, I didn't know.
After I had done my time performing, I then became a teacher and taught dance and was co-director of my own school.
Oh wow, amazing! How long for?
Yeah, so I had a whole other career, and I used to teach at Guildford School of Acting. So there are a lot of people that were in the West End and who've made successful careers for themselves. That I was part of their training and all that sort of thing. So I had a very rewarding and successful career doing that. But the thing is, with a career like that, is you can do really well for yourself, but you have to work really, really hard, and you have to work every hour that's available in order to survive. And I wasn't old, but I was starting to get older. And when you're bashing your body to that degree, you do start to feel things starting to wear.
Right.
And at the time, I equated security in my life with being able to own my own property. So it was something I really wanted to do. Was I wanted my own flat. That's how I would feel like I was secure. And every time I spoke to a bank or a financial advisor, they'd be like, "Don't really understand how you make your money."
Right,
and all that sort of thing. It's different now. Like the way they deal with self-employed people and stuff like that now, it's very different. Back then it was like, yeah, we're not quite sure we trust that. So I was quite frustrated by this, and I was starting to burn myself out. And I had a friend that worked in the facilities industry. Now I didn't know that's what he did at the time. I just knew that he went up to Canary Wharf every day, and did stuff in an office. And he said, "Look, we're going to be hiring some people, and I think you'd be really good at this." And I was like, "Okay." And he said, "Look, you're burning yourself out. You want to buy a flat. Why don't you do a different job for 1 year? Get settled, look good, get a mortgage, and if you don't like it, you can just go, okay, thanks. I'm going to go back to doing what I really do, and I'll pay the mortgage, because once you've got a mortgage, you're okay."
Yeah.
And he sent me the job spec for a floor manager role.
Right.
At Barclays global headquarters in Canary Wharf. And I read the job spec, and I rang him up and I said, "I really appreciate the thought, but I don't even understand what this says." So no. But well, fortunately, as history would have it, he didn't give up, and he prodded me and prodded me and prodded me until I thought, the only way I'm going to get you to shut up is by going to this interview. And so I kind of thought to myself, do you know what? Whatever. This is a day out in London. I don't go up to London that much. I was living out in the country at the time, and I just thought, whatever. I'll go up. I'll go to Oxford Street afterwards. All this sort of thing.
Bit of shopping.
Yeah, exactly. And so I went up, not really thinking that I had any chance of getting this. I didn't really care. I didn't care to the point where I was like, I'm not going to try and be somebody I'm not in this situation.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be myself. And all that, I knew I was going for an interview. What I didn't know, I was going to a half-day assessment centre. So that was the first shock.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, I just thought, okay, let's just have a laugh. This will be a good story to tell.
Yeah, no, of course, absolutely. Well, here we are now.
So I was just totally myself.
Yeah.
And they offered me the job.
And were you there? Was the assessment day with other people? Were you there kind of?
Yeah. So there were about 25 of us there.
Right, isn't it? That's a lot.
Yeah. And we had, what did we do? We did a CV based interview. Then we did a competency based interview.
Yeah.
We did a group exercise.
Oh man, I hate those.
Where we had to solve a problem, and then we had to do something else with a presentation, I think it was.
Yeah.
So I mean.
And did they start kind of like taking people away? Did people keep disappearing every now and then, going, right, you come with us, you're no good.
Well, actually, no, they didn't cut anybody during the day. So actually it was, all I'd ever done before that was go to auditions.
Yeah.
You know, and I'd had to learn to be quite bolshy in that. You know, I mean, when I first started auditioning, I'd go and hide at the back and watch everybody doing the splits, thinking, "Oh, I'm not that flexible. I'm not going to get this job." And it took a while for me to realise that you just need to push your way to the front and think, "I'm getting this job."
Yeah.
So I kind of, I was a bit more bolshy in myself. I remember being quite outspoken in the group exercise, because I just felt that there were a couple of people that were just dithering on the detail, and I was like, "We've got 10 minutes left. There's nothing on the board."
Yeah. Fair
and
enough.
I think that came from me sort of like with my teaching and putting on shows with amateur adults and children where no one knows what they're doing, and you've got to control all of them.
Everybody at once, multiple people.
No time for discussion. You go there.
So obviously shone through. That's great. So you got the job, and so obviously you took the job.
I did.
But what? At which point did you think, actually, I do fancy it, or did you think, I'll give it a go and see how it goes? Because when you read the spec initially, when your friend gave it to you, you're like, I don't really understand this. I'm going to go see how it goes. You got offered the job. At what point did you think, do I really want this job, or do I not want this job?
Well, I think I had a lot of imposter syndrome at the beginning, because I remember being sat in front of this very, very lengthy spreadsheet and told that I was supposed to manage it. And I remember after I'd been shown it, sitting at the desk, looking at it and thinking, I don't know what it is. And, and I spent a lot of time thinking, oh my God, I'm going to get caught here. But most of the role was actually around building relationships and communicate. And it made me realize that actually communicating with people in different ways was one of my key skills. And I'd never really analyzed it much, but when I look back, because I'd had to teach adults, children, teenagers, people that were going to be professionals. I'd had to learn to get my message across in multiple ways. And so learning to build relationships with different departments within a floor, and understanding their differing needs and looking for ways that they could work together that weren't going to rub everybody up the wrong way. It was a managing agent situation, so that our responsibility was to manage other subcontractors on behalf of Barclays. So that's a special kind of management, because they're not contracted to you, but you're asking them to do something and you need to get them to be accountable. So actually the communication part of it I took to really well, and I really liked being part of a wider team that were able to get together and were empowered to troubleshoot and find solutions to things. So it wasn't like other normal jobs that I'd had, where like here is the list of things that you do, and you come in and you do them every day. There was an element to it that was like that, but we were able to get together and say, right, we've got this challenge in the building, what are we going to do? And actually being able to work on defining the solution and actually seeing it implemented and everything.
Great stuff.
So I mean, I gelled with the people. I started enjoying the life, and I started to find my feet, and then I just seemed to go on a bit of a snowball of progression. So about 3 months in, they decided they were going to put senior floor managers into the structure, and they were going to put 2 in. And what they would do is they'd split the team between those people, and those people would supervise. And I thought, what have I got to lose?
Yeah.
And I got that job too.
Excellent.
And then, to be honest, I mean, I think it was kind of luck, the way that job and that site developed, because I can learn, but I'm not very academic. So I don't learn in a traditional academic way. If you give me a book and say that's it, that's going to teach you everything, it doesn't work for me. I learn by doing, and I'm much more comfortable with it being quite organic. So I like things to sort of develop, and it just kind of did this, because I became a senior floor manager, then I became a facility services manager. Then we were trying to up our game. So me and the other person that came on the journey with me, we said, right, let's split everything. I'll do customer service management, and I'll take all of the client facing stuff, and you do all the facility stuff. Let's concentrate on that for like 6 to 9 months and drag that up into the next level. And then when we completed that, we went to a different structure. Then we kind of became contract managers. So it just kind of grew over time. So it was a really good way for me to kind of cut my teeth on the FM industry. So,
Great stuff, yeah.
That
sounds good. So how long were you at Barclays for then?
Well, 5 years, which doesn't seem like very long now.
Yeah, sure.
But I did 5 years there.
Great stuff. And where did you go from there?
Well, from there, because I was spoiled. So I went to a global headquarters where everything's nice and shiny and there's lots of money to spend and you can get involved in everything. And also Barclays wanted, and they still do, they want to be a preferred employer. So they paid a little bit more than anywhere else in my company. So it was difficult to move sideways because nowhere else could afford you.
Right, okay.
So you were kind of stuck. And when you talk to people, they were like, well, you can go regional. It's like, why would I leave this palace? To go regional? So I kind of looked at my skills and I thought, right, what's missing here? And I thought, right, actually hard services is missing, because I'd done all the soft services, and I'd touched on things. I touched on security and stuff like that as well. But I'd never really done any hard services other than being the cover call person if someone was on holiday. But I didn't really know about engineering. So I started looking for roles that would give me that level of experience, and I interviewed for a job with MCOR. And fortunately, they were looking for someone for one of their hard services contracts, but they were looking specifically for someone that had a high level of customer service and communication skills, because that's what was needed there.
Perfect.
So it was kind of a very good match for me. So I mean, it was another baptism of fire. I remember turning up to my office on the first day, and my contract administrator came in and said, "We need to renew all the subcontracts by the end of next week." And I was like, "What?
What does that mean?
What are you saying?"
Yeah.
You know, so it was another baptism of fire. But you know, I mean, I suppose by then I had enough management experience and leadership to be able to kind of hold my own. And actually, you know, and I'm not proud about strengths and weaknesses. I'm very, very happy to say I do not know how to do this. Let's get someone in. Either you explain to me what needs to be done, or let's get someone in that can take us through this and let's get it right. Because I can run a process and I can keep everybody G'd up, but you might need to teach me the detail. I started my hard services.
Good place to be though. I mean, MCOR, well-established M&E business. I mean, it's a great place to go, really. I've not heard what MCOR have done for a while. They've been fairly quiet over the last few years, I think. I think they've got kind of from what I understand, because we don't do much recruitment with MCOR, but from what I understand is that they don't seem to win a great deal, but they retain a lot of their clients, from what I understand from speaking to people in the industry, that they don't seem to win a great deal regularly, but when they do, they retain it a lot. Is that true? Is that the case?
Certainly, internal growth was definitely a very big thing when I was there. And I think that I think there was a period while I was there where there wasn't a great deal of growth. But I think, you know, the company was going through a bit of a sort of a repositioning about what they were focusing on. And then they started to come out of that towards the end of when I was there. But I worked on some great client sites. I worked at the Natural History Museum, which was fantastic. I was very proud to be part of the team there. And that was certainly a challenge. It had, you know, grade 1, grade 2 listed buildings, brand new build elements. It was public facing. It was scientists. It was office services. It was storage facilities. So it was really cool. Trying to sort of, you know, broker solutions between all of those different factions, and to lead that was quite a large team I led there as well. So that was good experience for me.
Cool. And did you
And
go
as
from
time went on,
to Pareto?
Sorry, go on.
Did you go from MCOR to Pareto?
I did, yes. So like after I left the Natural History Museum contract, I kind of got involved in different projects, and I think by that time I'd got to a point where I would go to a contract, I would do my thing, and I'd whip it into shape, and I'd do the things that I needed to do. But I was getting to the point where once I'd done it, like steady state was not the place for me anymore.
Right. Okay.
And so I needed a bit more variety. So I got involved in a number of projects that were either moving people into new premises or redefining what their service scope should look like based on their feedback, helping out with mobilizations. And I also did a lot of work with the Learning and Development Department in MCOR. So I worked with their head of Learning and Development to develop a new supervisors course, because we were, her and I, we were very conscious of the fact that as an industry, we're very good at saying, you're a good engineer, let's make you a supervisor. And then we leave the building and only come back to beat you when you failed.
All right. Yeah.
And we kind of wanted to break the mold there. And we designed a 2-day course together that actually addressed the change in concept from being a worker to being a supervisor. Right. And actually spent, we would get people to come for 2 separate days, and we would start them on the journey of self-understanding and emotional intelligence, and getting them to be able to sort of start understanding why they behave the way they do and how they perhaps might need to control themselves in a situation where you're leading others. But we also gave them lots of practical tools for how to manage your workload, how to manage the differing needs of different stakeholders and that sort of thing, and like some basic performance management stuff so that they could start driving accountability and developing motivation in their team. So for a while, I delivered that course with her.
Right. Okay.
When I was at MCOR, but it started to get to the point where there wasn't a logical place for me to go permanently. There wasn't really scope for me to go into L&D the whole time. I was a little bit hesitant about that because I might end up stuck there, and there wasn't a logical contract for me to go and take on. And then I was contacted by Pareto. So I had met Andrew, the MD of Pareto, once, because someone that works for me in my team now, who was at Pareto before me, he'd introduced us probably about 2 or 3 years previous, because he thought, oh, these two will get on.
Yeah,
they'll find each other interesting, and we did. But Pareto was very small at the time, and there was nowhere for me. And I was just like, well, nice to meet you.
Yeah. See you soon.
And then further down the line, the company had grown to the point where they needed someone to come in and take the weight off of Andrew from an operational delivery perspective, and I interviewed for that role and was successful.
Excellent.
So I've been at Pareto for just over 3 years now. 3 years,
wow. Excellent.
And to be honest, it has been fantastic. I was a little bit nervous at the beginning about going to work for a smaller company, because I'd always felt the arms of a large company around me. But also, I was a little bit nervous because not that I did hide, but you can hide in a larger company.
Of course, yeah.
You're less noticeable, and I was very conscious of the fact that working in a smaller company with a smaller amount of people,
you're on stage
everything
again.
You did right on the surface.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh,
Great stuff.
So
well, I see quite a bit. Obviously, we've met before, and I obviously follow you guys on LinkedIn and see what you guys are doing. You seem you definitely seem like a fun company, and a bit different to. I mean, that's the kind of the image that you get when you kind of like looking through press articles and on LinkedIn and stuff, which we're all kind of engrossed in social media. And I think it's nice to see. It's nice to see something a bit different, a bit more chilled out, not as serious or kind of just the usual pictures of buildings on websites in the typical blue background. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, and yes, you are right. I mean, we actually are like our image. I mean, we are a fun company to be part of. I mean, we work hard. We work really hard. And sometimes it's terrifying and exciting all in one go. But it's great to be part of something that's challenging the way that we do things in the industry, not afraid to speak out about what we believe in, and sort of actively trying to make a difference in this space. I think that's the thing that really rings true with me. I mean, I talked right at the beginning of this story about deciding in that interview to just be myself, but it actually took a long time for me to really embrace myself and totally let go, because naturally I was one of those people that would try and be what I thought you needed me to be. And to be honest, that works well when you're working with different focused clients, because it's about shaping your service to meet their needs. But then, coming to Pareto, I've kind of been very actively encouraged to let go of any barriers that I had in order to kind of really bring my full self to the fore. And it's been a very liberating experience for me. So yeah, I think that's probably one of the greatest things about Pareto, is that there's an opportunity for people to become the absolute greatest they could be in this organization, and we're very we encourage that kind of activity and behaviour in our people.
Excellent. Sorry, Savannah, what's the matter? Can you ask Mummy for it, please? I'm busy. I'm just on a call.
But Mummy's on the phone.
I'll get it for you in 5 minutes, yeah? Okay, thanks. Sorry.
We'll sort that out in the edit.
Absolute classic. I'll be really trying to edit something. I'll probably just keep it in there, to be fair.
I know. To be honest, I'm surprised we haven't had a cat go across the screen here.
Oh, really?
I've got 2 4-month-old kittens that they just don't.
They just turn up.
They're still doing what they want to do. At the moment.
That's good. That's good. Cool. So I've lost my train of thought a little bit, but I think we're kind of coming to a close anyway, because I think you've taken me on a nice journey. I never knew that you were a professional dancer. So what kind of dance was it that you taught? Was it modern dance, or dance, or?
Well, I was trained in everything, but I would never call. Although I was trained in it, I would never call myself a ballet dancer. I was the wrong shape. But when I was performing, I was mostly doing modern, jazz, street, and tap. That was I tended to do as a performer. And when I taught ballet, jazz, modern, and tap.
Yeah. So just going back to, you mentioned that you work with, because I've met Andrew previously, and I know that he studied FM at university, and you mentioned that there's someone who works on your team that chose that as a career. Yeah. Are there quite a few within your company that have chosen FM as a career? Because the majority of people I speak to do fall into FM, but what's great is so many people fall into it but absolutely love it. They seem to find their niche and carve their own kind of career out, because there's so many avenues you can go down. But yeah, I'm kind of I'm keen to kind of shout more about the FM industry, and I do feel that it could do with being promoted more at the universities and career events and schools. Are there many people within your business that have chosen the FM route? Then is there?
There actually are now. I mean, they tend to be younger, and they tend to be people that are coming into more entry level positions. Yeah. But yeah, I would say yes. There's kind of slightly critical mass, I would say, at a certain level within the organisation that have come into this because they've chosen it. So yeah, I mean that's quite pleasing. That's quite pleasing.
No, absolutely.
I mean, I think we're still going to be stuck for a while with people that are either older or further up the chain because of time, being the people that fell into it. And to be honest, in a sense, I hope that we find a balance. I hope that this becomes a career of choice for people, but I also still hope that it can be the kind of safe haven opportunity that it has been for so many different people. I mean, When I was working at Barclays, the three of us that ran that whole thing, I was an ex-dancer, one was an ex-shepherd, and the other one was an ex-nightclub bouncer.
Yeah.
So,
Brilliant.
you know, I kind of like the fact that we've all come from different places, we've all got different experiences. It's really useful to have those different perspectives, but also facilities is such a varied organization, and the things we do on a day-to-day basis are so different all the time that it can be really fulfilling for such a wide cross-section of people.
No,
and I think that
agree.
it actually doesn't really matter who you are. You can find a home here, you know. And I think because maybe because we're all, we're all castaways that have landed on this island, and we have kind of a camaraderie amongst ourselves. That actually, you know, we all found this thing that united us. We all care really, really passionately about, even though we came from different places.
Do you know what? It's funny you should say that, because last week I interviewed Karen Farrell. I don't know if you know Karen. She's so she came over from Australia, and she's a trained singer. So she had her eyes on being on the West End on the show. She went to she was talking about how she went to auditions and she never got the part. But then she was kind of, hang on, I can't keep working, you know, in these small pitsy roles, trying to fund my dream, and then ended up as administrator and just kind of evolved from there. Going, hang on, I absolutely love what this is doing. And so she said, so many people you do find that can carve their own niche out within this industry. It's such a great. That's why I want to kind of speak to people from all backgrounds, because it doesn't matter whether you've been an engineer, you've been a cleaner, administrator, or post room. You know, you can still get to a great position within a business. As long as you put it in, you know.
Absolutely. And then, I mean, I feel really, really lucky and honoured that my career has kind of come full circle now, because most of what I would say I do these days is just nudging people into position so that they can really succeed. And that's what I was doing right at the beginning, was helping people to be their best selves, helping people to be success. You know, and now I'm in a position where I'm able to sort of like shape teams, you know, create situations where people can really shine, and then just sort of like wind them up and just let them go.
Yeah,
which is really rewarding.
No, absolutely, great stuff. Listen, Colin, I really appreciate your time. I think we'll call it a day there. But listen,
great, thank you.
Thank you for your time. It's always good to talk. And listen, all the best with Pareto, and we'll catch up soon.
Thanks, Claudio. I'll speak to you soon.
Take care. Cheers. Bye bye.